Good afternoon from Spean Bridge. I arrived here a short time ago on the train. Got the train this afternoon and it's late afternoon, it's about 4:30. So I'm just setting out to Corries, I think it's called. Walking along the road at the moment and then it becomes a track. So this is the way that you go into the grey Corries. It's the middle of November, so it's about a month away from the winter solstice. So the sun's already set and it's the light's beginning to go. You can see, I'm not sure how much you'll be able to pick out actually because of the light. There's lovely autumn colours. So I'm walking along this track here, this road, then it becomes a track. And the plan is to go and camp at the bothy at the foot of Spean tonight, and then tomorrow to go into the grey Corries and maybe beyond into the fort at Ben Nevis. We'll see. There is the Aonachs Mor, that's what I'm in tonight. And I'll show you a little bit inside. So I've got the X-Lite mat, and what I've done is I've got one sleeping bag. This one here is my summer Cumulus down sleeping bag, and then over the top I've got this quilt which is Gram Expert, and that's a synthetic quilt, that's Apex 200. So I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute, but that's the layout, and then I've obviously got my pillow as usual. So I think I've just shown you the tent and the sleep system. So what I've done is I've taken the Aonachs Mor rather than the Scarp because the wind hasn't to be particularly high this weekend and the X Mor is lighter, so that saves a bit of weight, but it has to be cold, and that's why I've gone for the heavier sleep system. The synthetic over quilt just means that if there is any condensation, which is more likely when it's low wind and cold, then it doesn't lose its insulation as much as a down over bag. And then the down sleeping bag, I don't particularly like being in a sleeping bag, but it's going to be particularly cold tomorrow night, and in those situations probably a sleeping bag is better than a quilt, or at least for me probably having at least one sleeping bag is a good idea. I tend to be quite a cold sleeper. So that's some of the choices I've made in terms of the gear that I've brought. We'll see whether it's the right choices over the next 2 days. But I've had my dinner and I will be going to sleep fairly soon. It's about 9:30 because tomorrow I'm going to get up early. I'll leave quite a bit before sunrise because I've got quite a long day tomorrow and I want to get started early. You can hear that it's actually started raining, which wasn't the forecast really, but hopefully it's just it's been raining most of the evening actually, and it's been quite windy, which again wasn't the forecast, but hopefully it'll blow through overnight and tomorrow will be a good day as was forecast, but we will see. See you tomorrow. Good morning. It's just before 6 and I'm getting going. I'm just finishing making the coffee, and there's actually quite a lot of rain overnight. It's dry now, so that's good. And the winds dropped right down. It was also quite windy, but I slept well. I slept very well actually, it was nice and warm. So yeah, getting the coffee going, and then I'm planning to get moving before 6:30. As I said last night, probably I've got quite a lot of ground to cover today. So I want to get going even though it'll still be dark. Just walking the head torch initially up behind the back of the bothy, up Stob Ban. It's going to be a steep start to the day, but we'll see how we get on. So I'm going to have a little bit of coffee. That's good. A little bit of coffee and then get going. You won't be able to see much, but that's where I was camped there. It was nice and flat. And the bothy. Can you see that? There's the bothy there. I assume it's still empty. I didn't hear anyone coming in last night. I'm going to go that way and try and find a track up Stob Ban. Been walking for about 45 minutes, so it's 7:15, and hopefully you'll be able to see that's looking east down to Carn station, and you can see the sun starting to come up. It should come up, or it does come up at 8, so it's just starting to get some light into the sky. I'll turn around and show you Stob Ban and the grey Corries. There's a bit of wind though, so almost at the summit of Stob Ban. It's a few metres to go, I think. That's looking across to Aonach Mor, and the sun is just coming up over there, which is beautiful. Hopefully the GoPro picks out the light. It's lovely. It's making this bit all pink. A wee bit of snow, you can see. There's a track all the way. You can see Stob Ban behind me, which I've just come off. The sun is up. It's still quite windy and a little bit cold. You can see there's a wee loch in there that's all frozen, but it looks like it's going to be a lovely morning. The sun catching the grey Corries there. That's the two Essens at Lochaber. That's through to Carn and the sunrise, and that's obviously Stob Ban. Just come on. So I'm going to keep going. There's a big ascent now. It's I think 300-400 metres. Stob Ban's the smallest by far of the grey Corries, So I've got a big ascent to go. I remember coming down it before, now I've got to go up it. I'll get working. Finished the Munros of the Grey Corries. Took about 5 hours, so it's about 11:30, and just coming up the final rise, and then I'm gonna look to go up Aonach Mor, which is a route I've never done before. I've done the Grey Corries and I've done the four at Ben Nevis, but I've never joined them up, so that bit's new. So I'm hoping it's okay. There's a wee scramble on it, so I'll just need to go and take a look and see what it's like. There's a bit of snow, so I do need to be careful. It's still clouded over, although it was supposed to be blue sky by now, but it's dry and the wind's dropped. That's Aonach Mor that we were up a few months ago with the kids. We camped just down in there, and then camped actually just in there on the coast to coast. That's looking down. You can maybe see a wee set of trees there, which is opposite Aonach Mor, and then you go round there to Lochaber and Corries. That's obviously the Mors, and then over this side down into Spean Bridge, and the hills over there have got the sun on them. I wish it was on them. I think that'll be Mullerdach. I'm not 100%. I'll show you the view from the top of this wee rise, and that'll be the view over to Aonach Mor. That's Aonach Mor and Aonach Mor. Can't see very much of them at the moment. I'm hoping it will clear, but I'm not confident. I've come up the bit between the end of the Grey Corries and Aonach Mor. It was quite tricky. There was some very slippy grass, which wasn't fun.
I have to say, I had to put my spikes on, not because of the ice, but just because the grass was so slippy. So yeah, I didn't enjoy it very much, but I think the next bit, I'm just about to go in the last wee section up to Aonach Beg, and I don't think it's as bad. I think it's relatively gentle. Hopefully don't have to do something like that again. It was quite stressful. There we go. It's good views even though the clouds kind of hanging low. So I'm going up there into the abyss. That's Aonach Beg, the clouds hanging on it, but currently you can get a good view. That's all of the Mors, the Ring of Steel that we did a couple of months ago. Spean Mor, Spean Beg, all the way through to Glencoe, Crook in there with the cloud on it. So it's a good view in spite of the cloud being low. It's probably sitting about 1,200, 1,100, something like that. So yeah, I've got to work up this. Just off the summit of Aonach Beg, it was straightforward as I thought. From the wee peak before it, it was just the kind of fairly gradual walk up, so that was good. Didn't want any more tricky bits. So now down to Aonach Mor, back onto stuff that I've done before, although there's a bit more snow than last time I did it. There you can see. So I think Aonach Mor will be there, but I'll just check as I go to be sure. When it's the visibility obviously isn't very good, so keeping a close eye on the route, but fairly sure that will be Aonach Mor, and then I'll go down. Not sure if the camera will pick it out. Yeah, you can see I'll go down there and then up CMD. I think that'll be tomorrow. I think I'm going to run out of light to do it today, but we'll see. The summit of Aonach Mor. I'm nearly popping out the top of the clouds. I might get lucky here. If you look that way, can you see? That's Ben Nevis, also just poking out the top. The weather's not been as good as forecast, but this could be a bit of luck. I think I'll wait and see what happens. Yeah, Nevis. Nice. It's actually quite clear that way. The top end of Fort William down there, I think. Ben Nevis clear of the cloud for a couple of moments. Aonach Beg just popped out the cloud a minute ago. Nevis now completely clear. Fantastic. Couple of hours late, but the cloud is lifted. You can see, so that's Ben Nevis right there behind me. I've probably already shown you the view from Aonach Mor. I need to drop or retrace my steps towards Aonach Beg and then try and pick up a very faint path down a very steep grassy slope towards CMD. So I'm not particularly looking forward to that. It's 2:30, so I've probably run out of daylight to do CMD and Nevis today. I thought about it, but I wouldn't really mind going off Nevis in the dark, but I don't really want to be doing CMD in the dark, and it's probably just a bit too much. So I think I'll do it tomorrow, although I just checked the forecast and the winds to pick up a wee bit overnight, so, but not too much, should be okay. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment, but for now that's Aonach Mor. Getting great views. You can see that this area's popped through the clouds, but everywhere else is still covered in cloud, and obviously that's over to CMD there, right, and up to Nevis. Brilliant. The last wee bit of sun. I'm about to drop down there where I'll be in the shade, and then the sun will go down fairly soon. That's where I've been coming down. It's been as steep as I remember it and no better, unfortunately, but nearly at the camp spot. If I can find one down there. We'll need to see. I'm sure there'll be something. You can see behind me, that's the descent off Aonach Mor, and you can see it's a lovely evening. So I'm going to go down in here, probably in there, find a place to camp. There's definitely bits that will be possible, maybe not perfectly flat grass, but I'm sure I'll find something. And then that is CMD. That is tomorrow morning's objective. So it'll be up and straight into the ascent. You go up by this wee wall, just there's the start of a wee wall, and you go up there, and I think you can find a path. I can't remember. I'll see when I get there. I think there's the start of a path. Yeah, in fact you can see it. You can just pick it out. It goes up to the wall and then it goes left and winds up there, and I think goes up there onto the shoulder and then up the ridge like that up to CMD. I think that's roughly the way it goes. So that'll be tomorrow. But for now it's an absolutely glorious evening. Blue sky, snow on the hills, but thankfully not too much snow down here. It'll just make it a wee bit easier to pitch. And that's the view. Can't quite pick out which one that will be. No, not sure. That'll be one of the ring of steel. I think the last one on the ring of steel. I think that might be what it is, but I'm not 100%. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a lovely view. Got water. There's a wee stream just right there. You can maybe hear it. So I got nearly 3 litres of water because I'm very dehydrated. So I'm going to pitch the tent as quick as I can once I stop, because I get cold feet, quite icy. So I'm going to pitch the tent and then I'm going to make a cup of tea, both to warm me up. I'm not cold, the rest of me, my feet are cold, but you know, to keep warm and to begin to rehydrate, because I'm very dehydrated. There's not much water on that route. There's one bit where I refilled the bottle at the end of the Grey Corries, and then other than that your next stop's here, so yeah, not too much water, quite dry. Anyway, I'm wittering on. I'm procrastinating from going and having to pitch, but I'm going to go down and do it. There's the X-Mid all set up, just the outer. I'm just about to get in and put up the inner, and then make a cup of tea. All the moisture that's on it's frozen already, it's so cold. The guy lines have frozen. But it's still a lovely night over there. I'm not sure it'll be like this in the morning. The forecast said the mist's gonna come in again, unfortunately. But enjoy it tonight. The sun's set, it's 4:30. That's where I came down. Just kind of in there, steep. That's Aonach Mor over there. I've got the tea on. There I'm in my sleeping bag and the tent's all set up, the air mat's up. Obviously the ground's very cold, so I needed to get the air mat inflated quickly. And yeah, waiting for the water to boil. The sunset was an hour ago, but I'll see if you can pick out any light if I turn my torch off. Yeah, you can see it's brighter than it looks on the wee screen, but the last of the light is there in the sky, and got the tent door open, just kind of watching it fade. You can see up to Aonach Mor. It's not picking, the GoPro's not picking it out, but yeah, it's very pleasant just sitting watching the light go. Leaving this race as always, and there's a bit of light in the sky. I'm going that way. The summit of Carn Mor Dearg CMD. If I got up here there'll be a bit of wind, so I'll try and show you. CMD, Fort William, Ben, the Mamors, Aonach Beg, Aonach Mor. I'm going that way. This is the low point on the CMD arete, so that's looking back to CMD itself. The ridge here, that's where I've come down. Still a lovely day, blue sky. That's where I'm going, into the abyss again. But it was supposed to be fogged in all day, so this is a bonus. I am just coming down the last section of Ben Nevis. I've not filmed very much, or at least I've not done much audio because the wind has been quite high. You'll probably see some footage from me going up the side of Carn Mor Dearg. That was very steep, wee bit tricky, quite exposed. And then the CMD arete, I think I took some footage there. The views were fantastic at that point. And then up the back of Ben Nevis, that was fine, the snow was deep, good footholds, all of that sort of thing, that was fine. The top of Nevis was inevitably covered in cloud, so, and the camera lens was misting up, so I got very little footage from there. And then I had a pleasant walk down just by the mountain track, or the tourist route. It's been lovely actually. You can see it's nice sunny blue sky day. That's the trails you can see in there. That's trails that I went on for coast to coast and various other things in some of my other videos, and you can just see in there the campsite, Glen Nevis campsite. We stayed there one night this year after the Ring of Steel. So yeah, just going to make my way back to Fort William, and then I need to catch a bus from there, so I need to keep moving.